What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're back with another tier list video, of course. Start of a new month, freshen up. We're going to get into some more Treasure Cruise stuff this month, of course, and we're going to start things off with a tier list. So with this particular tier list, there's only two new characters that have been added, Mihawk and Perona, and V3 Rayleigh. Those are the only two characters that are in addition to this month's tier list. There are no new super evolutions that we need to talk about. Last month was kind of excessive because we had like 6+ Marco, we had Arlong and Shanks, and then we also had V3 Law. There was lots going in the previous month, but this month heading into this one, we're only got two. And looking forward into next month, I mean, if we go by JP scheduling, the next one to come out is going to be the Snake Man batch, but I don't know, I feel like that probably won't come out during September. I feel like that it might come out in October sometime, but it's too hard to say. I don't know what's going to be happening because, honestly, the tier list between this month and next month might be very similar, but I guess we'll wait and see how things go. But first of all, let's get into my criteria for ranking each of these characters in my tier list. So first of all, the power of the character, so obviously how much damage are they able to do, the speed of the character, how fast are they at clearing content, reliability, of course, being how reliable are they at clearing content, their clear rate as a captain, so are there pieces of content that this character can legitimately not clear because the character is like not good enough, or they don't have that many good supporter characters. And then for usability and versatility, basically saying, can this character be put on a lot of different teams? Are they quite versatile? Can they do and fulfill multiple different roles on a team? So all of those different criteria go into how I rank my characters, and predominantly the captain effect is going to be a big factor in deciding whether a character is good or not. Typically, if a character is a really good sub, I do think that's very valuable, of course, but in this particular tier list of mine, we always go by predominantly the captain effect. If they've got a really good captain effect, they're going to be really high up on the tier list here. So, here we have everything here. Now, the thing is I saw a lot of people still commenting, why do you have every single character here? It takes way too long, and you just don't need to have every single character. And the reason for it is because, 1 month, one character might be really good, and one month it might be bad, and some of the characters in the everything else tier, some of the characters might move up, and some of the characters might move down between tier 5 and that. So, I do think it is still worth to have every single character in this list, and obviously we're not going to go through every single character in great detail, but just glossing over some of them. Let's start off here with Log Luffy. Obviously not very good. Got a good support effect though. No good support effect though. Whitebeard obviously going to be very good when PvP rolls around, or Pirate Festival. Really looking forward to Pirate Festival, so obviously whenever that drops, I will likely make additional tier lists videos separate to this one, because Pirate Festival is such a different style of gameplay compared to the generic game of One Piece Treasure Cruise. It's almost like a separate game, honestly. So when Pirate Festival officially drops, I'll likely make additional videos talking about that. So look forward to that in the future. I actually did use this Sabo against Raid Jinbei, but Raid Jinbei is a relatively easy piece of content, so I don't really think that qualifies him to move up into tier 5, but just stating. This Usopp, 6+ Usopp, I still use a lot in tandem with the Strength Katakuri, which I don't have on this tier list anymore because, obviously he's got a super evolution, but this Usopp is not bad, don't get me wrong. This Luffy has the same problems as the other Luffy, he's just really outdated. V1 Rayleigh, who has a fantastic special and a fantastic support effect, I'm going to leave him in tier 3 for now. I didn't actually have a look at my previous tier list before starting recording, so some of the characters might change very slightly, but be around the same level, I would assume. But Rayleigh is going to be like a tier 2 or a tier 3 character. I honestly want to put him tier 2 because he's like that useful, and he just sees so much play. He's so good. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, Lucci is absolutely awful. Shanks, V2 Boa, no, this Law's bad. This Lucci's bad, you're bad. Lucy's actually pretty good. I would say that this Rayleigh is still more useful to have compared to this Lucy, but this Rayleigh's only really good once you've got everything else around him. Once you've got the good captains, you've got the good Luffys to support the Rayleigh on that Luffy, right? Having Rayleigh by himself is not going to be very useful, let me tell you that. You're good. You actually are a pretty good sub, so I'll leave you there. No, unfortunately, no. You're a pretty good sub as well. You're in the same rank as Judge in terms of being a good sub. And of course, with this Rayleigh, he does get a super evolution on JP. He's really good in the Pirate Festival as well. But he's got a great special. I'm a big fan of Rayleigh. I don't use him too often, but for some of the Garp challenges, I've used him, and he's just an exceptional unit, providing multiple different effects in one special. It's very good. V2 Dofi, like, he's still good, but yeah, I still think he's really good. He's got a decent captain effect for Driven. If you've got Bato Cavendish, you're going to be using him instead. But his special ability obviously has lots of problems. This Zora's got a good support effect. You're still relatively good. I've used you a few times throughout the month. He's still relatively good, you know, being an all booster for Driven, for Cerebral, and also being a lore character, which means that you can support Corazon on this character, which is obviously very, very good as well. You're bad. You're bad. Luffy and Ace is pretty good. They're a free spirit captain, but compared to a lot of the other dual units in the game, they're just severely outdated. I really hope they get a 6+. They desperately need a 6+. Come on, Bandai, give him a 6+. This lore, in terms of special, is still pretty good. I mean, in tandem with this Dofi, of course, you can do some pretty cool things, but yeah, lore, he's okay. I actually did use him against Raid Jinbei as well. He's alright. V2 Shanks is still very powerful to have. Great classes, great color, amazing special ability. Captain ability is a little bit to be desired nowadays compared to a lot of the other multipliers that we have, but still good. V2 Akainu, I still think is also relatively good. I don't know where I'm going to put him. Yeah, I think he's going to be in this tier. I mean, his captain effect is still very good for Garp challenges, and that's the main reason why I'd have him here. And he's still really good against, you know, some of the more, you know, I wouldn't say like the really old Colosseums, but semi-new Colosseums he's still very good against. Still good on raid bosses. Like, he's still a good unit, but he is getting outdated. That's definitely easy to notice. V2 Kuzan is a little worse, in my opinion. But then again, you know, he's still relatively good because of Shanks Crew. Shanks Crew's got the captain effect, of course, where he makes Psy and Quick Orbs beneficial. With his special, you get a full board of Psy and Quick, and you get an attack boost. I guess he's got to go in tier 2, because under Shanks Crew, he's actually, like, a phenomenal character. Very good against, like, the CP9 raid and stuff that came out throughout the month, so yeah, he's really good, and I saw a lot of people did use this character as well. Kizaru, he's good in PvP, but not really good elsewhere. No, I like Jinbei. I don't care what anyone says. V1 Jinbei, super underrated character. This Gear 4 Luffy, still relatively good. Captain effect is okay. I guess tier 4 is actually kind of fair for him. And he is a Rainbow 2x attack booster, so like it's still good. Tezora got his Limit Break Plus, which makes him a lot better, but no one is really using him as a captain these days. Honestly, with Limit Break expansion, I would probably put him in tier 4, but the thing is once you have him, if you want to try and find a friend captain, it's going to be very difficult. So if you have him Limit Break expanded and you want to use him as a captain, more often than not, you're just going to be using him in a hybrid sense with a Driven team, a Quick team, or a Striker team, something like that. So he's still good though. I should really, really like Tezora. I hope that all those movie legends get Super Evolutions at some point. Judge, I'm going to leave him in the same tier as his 6-star form. I think that's relatively fair. Sanji, I'm not a fan of this Sanji, honestly. Every time I use this character, I'm just like, I would much rather use X, Y, and Z legend in comparison. There's just so many other characters that are fighter class that are just better at doing what Sanji tries to do. So he needs a 6+. He definitely needs a 6+. No, you are very good still. I'm going to put you in tier 1. Yeah, tier 1's relatively fair. I personally do not use Wako that much anymore, but you cannot deny what he's able to do, right? His switch ability for amazing tankiness, getting consistent recovery slots, removing paralysis and special bind, essentially a rainbow captain, but also boosting Sign Int. A relatively okay special, but in a lot of cases, his special isn't that great, but it's still a relatively good unit overall. You can't deny how good he is. Corazon, I'm putting in the same tier as Rayleigh for amazing utility, amazing support effect. That's pretty much it. He's basically like Rayleigh, like in a different sense. The support effect is obviously the same, supporting a different unit, but special ability-wise, amazing utility. Plus heal as well. The heal's very, very important. And he has very, very good crewmate abilities to resist other debuffs on your team. Very, very nice. Shiki, no. I really want to put him in here, but he's just not there. No, NL is trash. Brook, no. Sanji, no. Garp, he's still got a relatively okay special. V2 Jinbei, he's an attack booster and a health cutter. He's okay still. A lot of these other characters here, he is better than a lot of these characters. He's still got a relatively good captain effect. It's just, there's so many other characters you'd rather use as the captain spot compared to V2 Jinbei, but still usable in my opinion. Frankie is still relatively good. I'd probably put him in tier 4 because his captain ability is a lot better than a lot of these characters here. Honestly, Jinbei would probably have to go in tier 4 as well because his captain ability is not bad at all. It's just as I said, the other ones are just a little bit better. Capone recently got the 6+ on JP, and he's relatively good with his Super Evolution, but nowadays, I think I'm going to leave him tier 3 because that Big Father effect is amazing, and he's a shooter captain. Shooters are not amazing, but with Halloween Ace, you can run some pretty cool stuff, but overall, Capone is just a little outdated. His Super Evolution makes him way better, though. Even though he now boosts Shooter and Driven with his Super Evolution, it doesn't make him that much better because Driven as a class is not amazing either. So he's kind of stuck in that little conundrum where, yeah, he boosts 2 classes, 4x, lots of orbs, health, Big Father effect, attack booster for those 2 classes, but it's just the 2 classes that he boosts are not all that, unfortunately. But I like Capone. He's a cool character. Zephyr, no, not a fan of Zephyr. Carrot. Where would I put Carrot? Carrot's either a tier 3 or a tier 2. Personally speaking, I don't see myself using Carrot that much anymore. So if I'm saying personally, I would put her in tier 3. But I think a lot of people would probably have her in tier 2. I'm personally going to leave her in tier 3. But just because she's in tier 3 doesn't mean she's a bad character. I'm just saying that personally speaking, I would find myself using a lot of these other characters at this current point in time with the characters that we have access to compared to Carrot. But she is very good. Very, very good character. Cavendish, no. Good support effect, though, that I have been using often. Snake Man, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Snake Man's all about. He's definitely tier 0. I feel like over the next couple of months, Snake Man is probably going to get bumped down a little bit because his attack multipliers are kind of iffy, but he's still going to show that he pretty much is clearing everything that's still coming out, which is surprising, honestly, because he's now over a year old, especially on Global, and he's still essentially just as good as when he first came out, which is great to see. I like that. V2 Katakuri. He's going to go into tier 1. He's just way too slow. Even though I like Katakuri, a lot of you guys out there would probably know that, I just never use him really that much at all. I use him for some GARP challenges and stuff. He's really good in GARP challenges, but like outside of that, for like raids, Coliseums, it's like way too slow to run. And especially if you want to clear content as fast as possible, Katakuri is not going to be your go-to character for that type of gameplay. Inu, very good in Pirate Festival, but not really good outside of that, pretty much. Neko's got a great support effect, but no, not really. Then you've got Bato Cavendish, which are going to go into tier 1 as well. Everything about the character is like top tier, the top tier. The only problem is they boost Driven. They are one of the best subs in the game too. They could be running a lot of different teams, but as I said, you know, the fact that they're special boost Driven and that their captain boost Driven, it's a little bit of a downside. So for that reason, I'm going to put him in tier 1, but still phenomenal character. Bato and Cavendish is really, really enjoy using them. Jack, I'm going to put into tier 5 because I'm a big fan of Jack. Free Spirit is still really good, so, you know, Boa can run some hybrid shenanigans. I did use her with a Free Spirit team against Raid Jinbei as well that came out recently, and, you know, she's very good for that, but, you know, there aren't too many circumstances where you're like, yeah, I need to use V2 Boa for her color affinity for Free Spirit, because a lot of the time, if you need a color affinity booster for Free Spirit, you're probably just not going to run a character that can just give you color affinity. You're just going to run Sabo and Koala with their switch effect. More often than not, that's going to be enough in a lot of cases to get you through for Free Spirit dedicated color affinity. And there's lots of other rare recruits that can provide that as well. Dex Sabo, I'm going to put him in tier 4. His special is like amazing. He's got such a good special. Really good crewmate effect as well. I think he makes recovery in tandem beneficial to like the 3 classes that he boosts. Or maybe 2 of the classes. Either way, he makes a lot of orbs beneficial with his crewmate ability. And then he has a captain ability that is pretty mid. So, yeah, tier 4 is, I think, pretty fair for Dex Sabo. V1 Dofi, again, he's driven related, but nah, I gotta put him into everything else. I gotta do it to him. Just driven. They need a little bit of support. Sanji Judge, I love this character so much. Easy tier 1 for me. No doubt in my mind this character is tier 1. This character is way too good to not be in tier 1 at this point. Honestly, one of my favorite legends in the game, hands down. Cracker. I think I'm leaving tier 2 because his captain ability is pretty bad. Well, it's not pretty bad. I mean, it's essentially like Capone in terms of multiplier, right? But he's for Powerhouse, which is much, much better. Yeah, I think this is a fair spot for him. He's got a really good special, amazing crewmate ability to reduce his cooldown, so you can get his cooldown ready quicker, and with his expansion, he gets 3 turns of cooldown reduction as well. Crack is still very, very good to this day. I mean, these two characters specifically together, you know, it's a match made in heaven. The V2 slashes, I'm going to put them... Where would I put them? I don't like them as much, honestly. I think they're honestly kind of mid as well. I think tier 3 is relatively fair for them. I feel like wherever you put one, you have to put the other. I feel like they pretty much have to be in the same tier. But the thing is, with the release of Mihawk and Perona, you know, we've got a brand new Mihawk in the game. Now, obviously, Mihawk and Perona doesn't directly replace V2 Mihawk. They do separate things, totally different things. You know, one's boosting class, one boosting color, totally different characters. But I do think that the V2 Mihawk character in and of itself is just pretty average. You know, those chain boosting captains, they just don't really see that much play. It's just they're relatively annoying to use, and you know, being restricted to only the slasher class isn't amazing. And the thing is there's just better slasher captains in the game, and that also hinders this Zoro as well, because the best slasher captain in the game, I'm pretty sure, is going to be, you know, Luffy Zoro, right? And, you know, obviously you can't run it if you're running this. And then if you're running V2 Mihawk as your captain, you can't run Luffy Zoro as a sub because he's a chain locker and you don't want that. So just a lot of things are going against these characters. If these were not named Mihawk and Zoro and were 2 random other slasher characters, they probably would be a lot better than what they are, in my opinion anyway. No, V1 Big Mom sucks. You suck. Luffy Law, you are very good. Luffy Law, easy tier 0. Do I need to say anything more about this character? I think Luffy Law pretty much speaks for himself. V2 Big Mom, I use her a lot. Very good on GARP challenges as well. I use V2 Big Mom a lot more than Cracker, personally speaking. But I think it's relatively fair to put them essentially in the same tier because, I mean, they don't do the same thing, right? They're completely different, but... you know, in Kizuna clashes as well, you'd use these characters to enhance your damage by a relatively large margin, and I think it's relatively fair to put them in the same tier as each other. V2 Big Mom, also relatively underrated switch effect. In GARP challenges, when I was running like a V1 Katakuri team, having her switch effect is so good. Just giving herself a matching orb and a 1.5 attack and orb boost to herself, it actually makes clearing like mini boss stages so much easier. If you just have a character that just consistently gives themselves, I think when you multiply it together, it's a 2.25 boost just every single turn, plus a matching orb, it makes a huge difference. So I really, really enjoy using that character. Sabo and Koala, easy tier 0. I mean, Free Spirit and Cerebral, the 2 best classes in the game, or 2 of the 3 best classes in the game, up there with Powerhouse as well. They haven't changed since last month, just phenomenal in every facet, I feel. Cat Dog, I feel like they're here. They're a Cerebral Striker captain. Cerebral Strikers are really good. And they are Sight and Strength, which is also relatively good coloring too. Great special ability, but their captain ability is what really brings them down. They've got a very poor captain effect for a dual legend. They would benefit a lot from a super evolution, actually. I would love to see, like, if they're going to give any dual legend a super evolution, I think, like, Whitebeard Marco, Luffy Ace, or Cat Dog are the 3 that I would love to see get a 6+, for sure, for sure. Akainu 6+, I think he's going to be staying in tier 5, but in, you know, when V2 Snake Man comes out, I might bump him up to like a tier 4 because his support effect is just bonkers good. Nami is still one of the better subs in the game in terms of enhancing your damage output, plus she makes Dex Orbs beneficial. I think she removes, does she remove a debuff with her Sailor effect? I think it removes paralysis as well. Like, she's really good. Should I put her in tier 3? Yeah, I think tier 3 is relatively fair for this character. Great classes, great crewmate abilities, great special. She's good. She's really, really good. Vivi Rebecca. I'm going to put him in tier 1. Tier 1 easily for Vivi and Rebecca. Like, there's so many teams that just are so heavily reliant on Vivi and Rebecca to enable you to clear that content. Like, specifically, really difficult GARP challenges, training forests, just any high difficulty content. Vivi and Rebecca are so good for because you get that amazing switch ability. In my opinion, it's the best switch ability in the game. The 2.5 chain lock and the healing, it's way too good. Plus, you get all manipulation if it's a Cerebral or Striker, I believe. Changes strength and dex orbs on those classes to matching is also a nice touch, but this character is just way too good. Yeah, I love Vivi Rebecca a lot. Then we got Shirahoshi Man Sherry, tier 4. I don't use them that much, personally speaking, but, you know, there are certain circumstances where you'll use them and you're like, oh my god, this is like the best character ever. I've used them in a couple of different GARP challenges you guys would have seen on the channel. They're very good for those GARP challenges to remove just a bunch of debuffs, plus a full heal, plus a full border matching orbs. Outside of GARP challenges, though, I personally have not used this character in a relatively long time, so that's unfortunate, but it's just the way that it kind of goes. Regular Shirahoshi is just a worse version of Shirahoshi Mancherry. Stampede Luffy, another relatively good legend. I think he's tier 1 for sure. GARP challenges, I used him in the raid bosses recently. He is amazing. I still, to this day, think that he's one of the most underrated legends in the game. Obviously, despite the fact that he is a self-centered unit in terms of when you launch the special, he's only boosting himself, which a lot of people dislike, and I can understand why, but you know, you got to look at the facts here. His captain ability is still one of the best captains in the game, in my opinion, anyway. On global, that is. You know, things are going to change, you know, once we get into the super type meta, that's for sure. But currently speaking, yeah, I'm a big fan of Stampede Luffy. Bullet, need I say more about Douglas Bullet? He's not moving for tier 0 for a hot minute. Kaido, I think he's going to be tier 1. I believe I had him in tier 1 last month as well. Normal attacks only just ruins the character. It ruins his special. He's still a flat 4x, which is good, but other than that, not really amazing. Yeah, normal attacks only just kind of ruins him. For Katakuri, though, I think tier 2 is fair for Katakuri. I don't remember where I put him last month. I remember seeing some comments saying that they were kind of upset with where I placed Katakuri. But I mean, as I said, this is personally speaking and how often I use the character plus my criteria as well. And I think tier 2 is relatively fair for them. Like, I would pretty much nearly use every single other character here for content. I mean, it depends on the content I'm going for. Like V2 Katakuri, I don't use him all the time. I only really use him in GARP challenges. I would much rather use this Katakuri in GARP challenges over this Katakuri, like just as an example. But yeah, I think tier 2 is pretty fair for him. He's still really good, and I like everything about this Katakuri. I think V1 Katakuri's design is one of the best designed legends in the game in terms of uniqueness and power and usability. He's super unique, and I love that about the character. It's just, as time goes on, he's going to get power crafted. It's just the way the game goes. Halloween Ace, man, tier 1 for sure, no doubt. Amazing utility in his captain effect, and he's boosting fighter and shooter. Shooter aren't overly amazing, but still very, very good character. I want to kind of get through these, man. There's a lot of characters to go through. Onami, I'm going to leave her in tier 3. Very good special, but literally useless if the enemy has full debuff immunity. I wish that, you know, if she was at full HP, she just reduces enemies' defense by 100%, that bypasses all immunity, rather than remove defense down immunity and then apply defense down. I hate that. It just should have just bypassed all immunity, but we don't control these things. Komurasaki, another relatively underrated legend, in my opinion. She is very, very good, being a quick and int captain with a self, you know, 2 times attack and orb boost to those 2 colors. Orb manipulation as well. Like, she's so, and honestly, really underrated support ability. She gives 12% of her stats, all stats, to any quick character. And I think if you add it up, she's one of the best stat boosting units in terms of every single stat to a unit in the game. She's very, very good. So Komurasaki is amazing. V2 Lucci, he sucks. I'm sorry, he just sucks. Chopper is actually not too bad. I think tier 3 is very fair for him. You can use him to farm cotton candy and stuff like that. Personally speaking, I don't really do that all that often because I just don't need cotton candy. I have like over 10,000, probably close to 20,000 free cotton candy sitting in my box right now. I don't need extra cotton candy, but I know for many of you guys out there, yeah, he's going to help with that. Plus, he's got a great special. He's a cerebral unit as well, which helps him out too. Really like the fact that he's cerebral. So yeah, he's good. Luffy Zoro, I'm going to leave him into tier 1. He's easy tier 1 material, slasher and free spirit captain. Very good being a free spirit captain. Slashers are still relatively good, but this guy is just like the best version of, you know, these guys. You don't need these characters if you got this guy, pretty much. Luffy Zoro is very good. Sober Mask, he is going to be in tier 0. Easy. Easy tier 0, no problemos. We got 6+ Lucy, which is essentially just a better version of the OG Lucy, in my opinion. So I think that's fair to put him just in just a notch above the other Lucy, in my opinion. Though their classes and colors change, this one is just better. So now we've got Robin 6+ being a cerebral captain. She's still pretty good. Yeah, tier 3 is good. I mean, her special's still really good on a lot of teams, being an attack booster and full damage immunity against the enemy. She is still a 3.75 flat cerebral captain, which is, again, still really good. But personally speaking, it's a character I don't really use that often, because in a lot of cerebral teams, you're gonna struggle for space. And I mean, if you already have Sabo and Koala, you're never gonna use this character. In a lot of circumstances, you're not going to use the character, because this is your dedicated attack booster, and unless if you literally need to tank a death hit, like a huge death hit, then you would probably run Robin instead, but it is what it is. Then we got Nami and Robin. I actually pulled them, did I have them when I made my last tier list video? I don't remember if I did. I don't think I did. So I pulled them, and I was able to play around with them, and honestly speaking, I hate their captain effect. You can go watch my showcase video if you guys haven't seen it yet. I go through in much greater detail about my opinions about this character, but I really, really don't like the captain effect. But saying that though, their special is godly, and their switch effect as a sub is godly. Their switch effect as a captain, I don't like it that much, because sometimes you need to switch and get the different captain effect, or you need the different color unit, and you're just getting rid of your orbs, and it's the most frustrating thing ever. And yes, you can kind of plan it out, you know, prior to that, but that just goes into the, you know, usability of the character. It just makes them much less usable in terms of you have to plan your team out so far ahead in advance before you get into the content. It's like, why would I even bother? I'd much rather just use, you know, who else would I rather use? You know, I'd just use Stampede Luffy instead, because he could just blitz through the content, plus having utility captain effect, and it's just, it's a lot easier, right? So I'm going to leave them in tier 2 for now. I know some people are going to go crazy at that, but I mean, it's my opinion. I don't like the character that much as a captain. Saying that though, once Super Type comes out, they're getting bumped up, because they are an exceptional sub for V3 Katakuri and Legend Kid when he eventually drops to, like, literally one of the best subs in the game for those two legends. So they're going to get bumped up. So don't you worry about that. Just currently speaking, not a big fan of them. And we got Pudding. Speaking of characters we're not a big fan of, I think tier 2 still a fair shot for Pudding, honestly. I think they're in the same tier right now, but this character gets much better as time goes on. We got Arlong Crew. I did actually pull them between the last tier list and this tier list, and personally speaking, I think they're a tier 2 character as well. I haven't had too many chances to use him thus far, and the chances that I have used him thus far, I've only used them as a sub. I've never gone to use them as a captain. They're just extremely frustrating to use. I don't like having to have one of each color on my team, especially if I want to use a dual unit, because it makes using the dual unit much more difficult. So for that reason alone, I just hate the captain effect. But as a sub, they can provide some pretty cool things, so that's good. They get a very, very good special. Moving on, we got Shanks Crew, and I'm pretty sure it's no surprise to anyone that they're going to be in tier 0. No more needs to be said. Marco, still relatively okay. I'm going to leave him in tier 4. You know, 2 times all boost and essentially a full heal. What more could you really ask for? I guess tier 5. No, he's got a good captain. He's got a relatively good captain effect. Yeah, you got to leave him in tier 4 in my opinion. Then we got the new lads. Actually, let's leave the new ones for last. We got Quickbeard. Let's move Quickbeard up to tier 1. He's essentially like, he boosts the same classes as Kaido. He's got a higher multiplier than Kaido. He's got a better special than Kaido in my opinion. Well, it depends on the content, but a 2.25 attack boost to 2 classes, damage reduction, despair removal, is pretty good. And he removes burn as well with his 6+. Yeah, Quickbeard's awesome. He's such a good legend. Then we've got Quick Kuzan, who I still don't have in the game yet, unfortunately. So for Quick Kuzan, I'm going to leave him in tier 2. A lot of people that I've talked to that have this character say that they never use him, and I would probably agree to that. If I did pull him, I probably would never use him, or I wouldn't use him that much. But for Quick Kuzan, he is a really, really good character as a sub, providing, is it orb boost and color affinity, I'm pretty sure. And he also is one of the better units for Pirate Festival. Again, we'll talk about that more when it drops on Global. Next we have V3 Law, my favorite legend in the game right now, and to no surprise, he's going to be staying in tier 0. I put him there last month for sure, and he's not moving. He's freaking awesome. Then we've got Kung Fu Luffy, who I think he's going to be a tier 4 or a tier 5. I'm going to leave him tier 4. I think tier 4 is good. He's an attack booster, orb manipulator, perfect, easy to hit, damage threshold for your team. This unit's pretty good, right? So yeah, tier 4 I think is relatively fair. He just provides a lot of different things and can be put on a lot of different teams too, which is a huge benefit to the unit. The only problem is he's a Luffy character. If he was named like something else that wasn't as common, this character would see way more play, in my opinion. It's just there's so many other better Luffys to use in the game, unfortunately. So now we've got the 2 new Sugofest exclusives. So let's start off with Mihawk and Perona. Mihawk and Perona, they've got a really good captain effect. I made a showcase video as well. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But their captain ability is very good. Their switch ability in tandem with their special is one of the greatest combos. They've got a really good healing mechanic with their switch too. I like a lot of things about this character. And saying all that, I think that this character is going to be in tier 1, and I kind of liken it to the fact of like, it's kind of like Vivi Rebecca in terms of having such an amazing support effect, because essentially you can get damage reducing effects off of it, plus you can get a heal from it, and it procs a debuff on the enemy, which you can get a conditional boost off with their special. So it's essentially like, I'm kind of giving it in the same sort of category as Vivi and Rebecca in terms of usability as a sub. But when you compare their captain effects, Mihawk and Perona's captain effect far, far exceeds Vivi and Rebecca's, in my personal opinion, in terms of usability, because it's just a color boosting captain. Whereas Vivi and Rebecca, yeah, they're a rainbow captain, but you have to hit with type advantage, which is extremely difficult to do. You have to plan your team out far in advance in order to get the team to work effectively. So Mihawk and Perona, easy tier 1, no problems there. Final character is V3 Rayleigh. V3 Rayleigh, obviously this is the only other character I don't have. I don't have V3 Kuzan, and I don't have V3 Rayleigh. So these are the only 2 characters I don't have in the game in terms of Sugofest exclusives. So personally, I'm going to leave him in tier 3 for now, but I don't know, like, honestly, because this is a character I don't have. I don't really know too much about him. I know that a lot of people on JP don't use him, but you can't deny he can have some pretty awesome effects and some pretty awesome usability if you plan your team out correctly. So I don't really know where to put him. Like, his captain ability is still really good, but that special, man, that special is such a huge downside. I don't know where to put him. I'm going to leave him tier 3 for now. Look, it might change as things go on, but I just don't have that much information to really, you know, put him in a higher tier. I just don't see it. I don't see how you could do it. I mean, like pudding. I'm not a really big fan of Sugofest exclusive pudding, but yeah, you can see and understand different situations where this character is going to be useful. I've used her a lot in GARP challenges. She has a really good use in those events, and she has lots of different usages in a lot of different teams, and she is a cerebral unit too, so that's a really big benefit to the unit too. But I think, with that being said, we have now completed the brand new tier list for September of 2020. So there we go, guys. That's crazy. How long did that take? 30 minutes? Bloody hell. Okay, so there we go. That's my opinions on which are the best Sugofest exclusives in the game right now on One Piece Treasure Cruise Global. So moving forward into next month, as I said a little earlier on in the video, we don't know exactly what's coming. We know that according to JP scheduling, the Super Type is the scheduled next Sugofest exclusive batch to drop. Are they going to drop anything else before it? Are they going to change up scheduling? We don't know, but just know that the next tier list video, which is going to be dropping pretty much right as September ends or right as October begins, if there's any new characters, then we're going to be discussing them and placing them on this tier list. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.